Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Practical Spirituality here in the old city of Jerusalem at Esha Torah overlooking the Temple Mount. Today we're talking about truth. Truth is a very unpopular word. Nobody likes too much truth. As I will continue speaking, you'll start to get more and more uncomfortable, so I apologize in advance. Human beings have a really negative relationship with truth, and because we're all meaning-making machines, meaning you can't help but make meaning out of everything. In fact, even while I'm speaking right now, you're all just stunned because you're like, how am I supposed to make meaning out of this? Like, what? Because it's not easy to make meaning out of real life coming at you all the time. So you don't even know what I'm saying right now, which is fine. But because you're such a meaning-making machine, that all the parts of your life that are not true, you build hashkafa around it. You will actually create a worldview that will fit into the lies that you tell yourself and others. Did you get that back there? You got that part? Can you repeat that for everybody, please? Just kidding. But I'm going to say it again anyway, in case you missed it. Whatever part of your life is not true, meaning all the lies you tell yourself and others, is what you do is you fabricate a worldview that supports it. You'll just create a worldview that supports it, and then everything seems to fit into the bluff of your life. Which is one big bluff from every aspect, from your diet to your self-image to your looks to your weight to you name it. It's all part of one big fat lie. And not only that, but even your Judaism's probably mostly a lie. Not that the observance of Torah is a lie, but your relationship to it is probably filled with all kinds of knucklehead crazy things that you've made up for why you keep Shabbos, or why you do what you do, or why you're keeping kosher, why you dress modestly. I mean, you probably got a million knucklehead reasons why you've made up about this that have nothing to do with real truth. So even your Judaism's not really based in truth. And then there's the whole, and I mentioned already self-image, but self-image is probably the furthest from the truth is your own self-image of yourself. It's highly underestimated, meaning those of you, which is all of us, myself included, those of us, I'll add myself, those of us who think of ourselves as really unnecessary, not very smart, not needed, uninteresting, stupid, ugly, boring, lost, weak, and worthless. All of that extreme underestimation of ourselves is also one more, divergence from our truth, which is what's really true about you, which we all know is you're actually created in the image of God. I mean, you're great, you're awesome, but how many of you are walking around feeling that way about yourself? Almost nobody. And then the other part of you, which is like the ballooned up part of you, that has you all ballooned up to think you're really great, like you're the best thing since sliced bread, is probably also not very true. What's great about you isn't what you think's great. What's great about you is the real inherent stuff that you don't even recognize, like the real truth inside you. That truth of how awesome you are is the part that's amazing. It's just that you're probably ballooned up in all kinds of other areas, compensating for the negativities that you say about yourself. Aren't you guys happy we are discussing truth today? Now, it was his idea. You'll have him to blame for this subject. But as I said, you'll be getting more and more uncomfortable as I go. But it will be refreshing in the end to maybe have some access to truth that will give you a really happy life, because the truth is quite great. The truth is really amazing. And then, of course, you have moods, which are no good for truth. Because when you're in an exaggeratedly high mood, you're like on glue or something, like you've been sniffing glue. Like you're not at all in the real world. And then when you're in a low mood, where you're seeing everything as black, it's not black. So you're also very far from truth when it comes to moods. So it's like we have no access to anything true, really. And then you might think, well, Torah, you're learning Torah in yeshiva these days? Which yeshiva? Simcha Shloma? Yeah. You're learning with me? Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Have I met you yet?
We danced on
Oh, that was you. Yeah. No, I saw you there. You came and joined us. I was wondering if you were going to join us dancing there. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that made me happy. It was kind of weird to be the only guy not dancing, but so you just jumped right in. That's great. Welcome. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol nimah. I wasn't expecting the one guy asked where he learns is where I learn. That's just Murphy's Law, you know. What's your name, by the way? Yehuda. I'm Yom Tov. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. What's your last name? Cohen. Where are you from? Get to know the guy. What?
I live in Maya, like my parents.
Oh, nice from Mali. Great. Awesome. Live in Nachlaot? Great. Me too. You're welcome for third meals and stuff.
Yeah, I heard.
Everyone's welcome for third meal. Anyway, which makes you feel really special, I'm sure. So, truth. So, yeah, so even your relationship to Torah, like you might say, well, hey, you know, in Sem, you know, I'm learning Torah. Like, that's got to be true. That's not true. Because the lenses you're wearing, by the time you are, like, have any relationship to the Chazal, you know, who are actually explaining Torah to us, because Torah is, like, completely, it's unintelligible. I mean, there's every single word has 70 possible meanings. So good luck getting anywhere with that without Chazal. Now, Chazal put it together for us as best as they can, but that's, of course, only as best they can. Who knows what the truth is of the 70 meanings of every word? I mean, you have 10 words with 70 meanings. Where are we at with possible meanings of that sentence? Any mathematicians here? 10 words. 700? No.
Permutation.
Yeah.
It's like 700 times 699 times 698 or something like that.
It's some crazy number.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so you want to say, like, your relationship to Torah, well, that's true, isn't it? Well, I don't know. I don't think so. And then there's, of course, well, you can read Art Scroll. Isn't that true? No, that was however many rabbis who were big scholars who sat together and said, they said, translating it would be impossible. But what if we all sat together and mulled over each sentence to have the least misunderstanding? Like, how can we create the least misunderstanding of the Torah? So like even your relationship with Torah. But let's just say, hypothetically, that you actually got a sentence of Torah to understand. And you do understand it, meaning you learned all 70,000 possibilities of those 10 words. And now you know them all. And we tested you. You know everything on that. Guess what? You still have your own way of looking at things. Well, how do you know the way you look at things has anything to do with truth? I doubt it does. I know mine doesn't. I know I look at things in the way I want it. I'm twisting it towards all the other things I ever learned. You know, what if I learned something that's so out of the box of everything else I've ever learned that it causes me cognitive dissonance to add that, because that would change everything. So I'm going to learn it in a way that works for me. And how many of us are learning everything so that it works for us? So what is our relationship with Torah? Are we uncomfortable enough with this discussion? Yeah.
That's like the beauty of Torah. It's that there's so many different meanings. Like everyone takes their own view. Like
Yeah, especially the conservative and reform. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Like that's why there's not one.
A little jab there. You guys have been to a lot of my class. I never mentioned conservative and reform, right? You ever heard me? Never comes up. You can be in my class for 3 years. It was just a joke that I couldn't help but tell. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like, good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's like the beauty of Judaism. There's not one path to go down. Like, there's so many different things to take from based on the type of person you are.
Yeah, for sure. But and I'm with you on that. And I also think that's the beauty. However, like if there's got to be a real truth there. I mean, part of truth is there's a real truth, and we're always going to be in a version of it. We're always going to be in truth version 7.6. You know, based on our experience.
So
No, we're just talking about our relationship to truth now. Okay, so that was our introduction to the subject of truth. Hope you liked it. Now, let's move on let's see where we can go with this whole truth business. You do have a relationship with truth. You really do. I'll give you some examples. Anyone here brush their teeth at least once a day? Yeah, okay, a couple of you, okay. Now, I'd just like you to say truth, because it's true, okay? Everyone try that, because it's true. Okay, very good. Here we go. I'll point to you, and your job is to say, because it's true. You ready? Okay, I'm going to point to this dude in the back in the Patagonia.
Because it's true.
Well, I didn't ask the question yet. Do you brush your teeth at least daily?
Because it's true.
Didn't ask. Oh, I get it. You say yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's true.
Excellent. You sleep once in a while? Right, because if you don't sleep, the immune system goes down, and then you get susceptible to a million different things. Yeah. So why do you sleep?
Because it's true.
Because it's true. If you don't sleep, you're in trouble, right? You eat a couple times a day?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's true.
Excellent. Right, because you don't eat, man, you're in trouble. So we're doing a lot of stuff because it's true. So we do have access to truth. Meaning the intro of this class was that you don't have any access to truth. Chapter 2 of this class is you have a lot of access to truth. And in fact, you're learning all the time what is true. And one of those things is wearing a seatbelt in a car, or a helmet on a bicycle or a motorcycle. These are all truths. And looking both ways before you cross the street, these are truths. So when it comes to survival, or at least physical survival, we have a lot of truth that we're involved in. I think a lot of people have the humility, and certainly people in this room have the humility to know that they don't really know on their own, and therefore they're referring or deferring to Torah and the wise sages of history to guide them. Raise your hand here if someone's guiding you right now. Not me teaching, I'm saying you actually have someone kind of holding your hand through life, whether it's a Rebbe, a Rebbitzin, a counselor, someone wise, grandma. Raise your hand if you got someone guiding you right now, really guiding you. Excellent. And so that's part of the truth you're living now. All the people who couldn't raise their hand right then, you're on your own, which is not a good idea. And by the way, one of the reasons people don't have guides is they're afraid, what if it's not really the right guide? But there's nothing wrong with having a temporary guide until you find a better one. But going guideless is not so smart. You want to have someone guiding your way. It's also really important. I have a whole class on this on YouTube called Finding a Rav on YouTube. It's a 1-hour class, how to find a guide in your life. And but one of the pitfalls is if they can't have an agenda for you, meaning if their agenda is you're happily married one day, that's okay. But other than that, no real agendas. They have to be willing to allow the wildness of your soul to develop. And that may mean pretty out of the blue, kind of out there advice. But there's a lot of guides who aren't true guides, and they're always covering their tracks because they don't want to ever get back to them. That they led you on some wild journey. But you want to anyway. There's a whole class on that. It's an hour class on YouTube called Finding a Rav, and it really kind of puts all the parameters of what it means to guide somebody for real, and let them make their own mistakes, but at the same time, be a net for them when they're making those mistakes, and obviously helping them avoid those mistakes, but also not taking away free will. There's all kinds of details. Yes.
Is picking a rabbi picking your hashkafa?
Right. Well, that's the danger of it. Is the non-guides will be picking a hashkafa. They're going to guide you towards their hashkafa. Those are non-guides. By the way, you may like someone's hashkafa. I've been to Shabbos tables where I was I love this place. This is the energy. And so I made them part of my guidance because I wanted a Shabbos table like that. You understand? But I was totally picking hashkafa. They are not true guides. They were just, I said, you know what? I'm taking these people for guidance because I want somehow my Shabbos table should wind up like this Shabbos table. And so I got really close to the family and let the Rav of the family guide me in a lot of aspects of my life. Because it is picking hashkafa, but that's not true guidance. A true guide, there's no hashkafa. For example, My guide is, he's super hardcore. I mean, this is a Kabbalistic, sleeps 2 hours a day, only eats the food that keeps his body alive. He's been going like this for like 40 years. And he doesn't sleep Thursday nights, and he doesn't sleep Shabbos night. So I don't know if you call that 2 hours a day, but he just is he's a total Merlin. And he's one of the great masters of our generation, of the Ramchal, the Kisvei Ari, the Balatanya, who's all his writings are of the most Kabbalistic level. It was before Chabad really got on its feet. This is just the one who sat at the Maggid's Tish in Europe, the Balatanya. Anyway, he's one of the masters in our generation of all those works, not to mention a halachic, posik and halacha. He's huge, but he's very reclusive. No one has ever heard of him. No one even knows who he is. He's secret, and he's my little secret. I found him, and I've never left him. Second I met him, I was like, this is it. And I'm with him now 24 years. And anyway, but there's no hashkafa. No hashkafa.
Do you think like a Jew has to pick hashkafa?
What?
Do you think like a Jew has to pick hashkafa?
You do. I did. And I'm a Pins Karliner Chosid, wearing the gold zebra, robe on Shabbos, and I'm part of that hashkafa. I chose a hashkafa. My guide is not from there. Not from there, nothing to do with the place. Hashkafa means worldview. Like, choose a community that shares more or less your view. I just want to mention, while we're on that, and then we'll go back to the truth thing, but this relates, is that you need a community. For anyone here not raised observant or raised Litvish, you need a community. You actually need a community. But especially Bali Tshuva need a community. And meaning if you're raised Litvish, you're raised Litvish, okay, you can survive without a community. It's fine. It's enough you guys are together on Simchas Torah or whatever, whenever everyone's together, once a year or at a bris or something. I don't know when they get together, But but for Bali Tshuva to be communityless it's not so good. It's not good for the kids. Kids need to feel part of something because you don't really have the generations to show. They can't go over to Bubby and Zadie's house, and get bounced on the knee of a white bearded man, and which in the other communities you got that, or a non-community, yeshiva community, where they at least got the Zadie with the beard, and so that helps the kids a lot. So if someone's raised non-observant, it makes sense to have a community, so the kids get context to life, because you can't teach a kid Torah. Kids start Torah at like 10, 11, 12, maybe now 8, they're starting Mishnah, but they're really not anywhere with it. So you're going to wait 10 years to start training your child? That's not going to be very good. You want them in a community where there's community experience happening all around them, so they feel part of something. But by the time they start being able to learn with their father, understand? To give them that connection that you could give them, they need a connection before that to the traditions. They need all the thousands of years wrapped up in the glowing-eyed, white-bearded members of the community that, if they're nice, will take you in and make you feel part of things. While I'm on that subject, don't overdo it, though, because if you overdo it, you can never pretend to be raised observant. And if you overdo it, it puts your kids in a very uncomfortable position of dad the faker. And so, they got the faker dad, and who's trying to be like everybody, but you can never do it. There's no way to join the observant community and ever look normal. You'll never be normal. And it's a blast, and you should love it. And they love you so much more for who you are than anything they would ever love you for, pretending you're like them. You understand? Like, they'll pat you on the back, they'll make you feel good that you pronounce something right for a change. But that's not why they love you. You understand? They love you for who you are. They don't love you for the fact that you're able to pretend you're one of them. And it's really not good for your children because children see through bluffing parents. So we're kind of on truth right now as well. This is truth. You know, be yourself all the way, and don't go against the community. Meaning, be part of things, but be yourself part of things. Your kids will find their own way. Yeah. So back to our connection to truth is we have guides. We do have Torah study, and we have the chance to put as much Torah as possible into our minds and our hearts to guide us. So there is an access to truth, big time there. And but what I'd like to focus on though is your own relationship to yourself as being true. Is to see yourself as awesome. Let's try that together. Everyone on 3 say, I am awesome, but with all your heart. With all your heart. I am awesome. Now, for those of you who think that's ego-oriented, it's not ego-oriented. To say anything else is like spitting at your maker. You're created in his image. So if you're not awesome, then he's not awesome? You're saying God's not awesome? He didn't make you awesome? You are amazing, you are awesome. So let's try I'm awesome, okay? With all your heart, ready? 1, 2, 3. I am awesome. I totally didn't buy that. That was not it at all. Yeah, let's try that again. We're doing I am awesome, but with enthusiasm and heart, okay? Okay? Well, maybe we'll try it with our eyes closed so you're not embarrassed in front of me. I'll close my eyes too, okay? Everyone close their eyes. Your eyes aren't closed, I can feel you looking. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I am awesome. Take a breath. We'll do one more heartfelt one. 1, 2, inhale. 3. I am awesome. Breath. Okay, opening up the eyes. Did you close your eyes? How many of you felt it to your core? And raise your hand if you felt it to your core, or raise your hand if you felt like you were that was a joke. Okay? Okay, felt it to your core, raise your hand. Felt it to your core. Okay? That was a joke. Okay, and the rest of you are lying? Okay? All right. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do is to put up a white flag of surrender. I want you to surrender between a battle. What is that battle? It's the battle between who you are and who you say you are. A battle between who you are, which is awesome, and who you say you are, which we're not getting into here. I don't want to even hear who you say you are. And probably half of it you don't even hear. So what you do is we're going to surrender. We have to surrender to truth. In the end, we're all going to a place called Olam HaEmes, the world of truth. We're all going to be showing up there. You have a question?
Yeah, just before that, it's a little unclear. Can you give a definition of what truth is? No?
In the context we're in right now, which is super broad, it's every aspect. No, I don't really. But let me give it a shot. It stands up. Truth would stand up in every situation, every attack, no matter what it would be, it would survive it. Truth would survive every situation. Like, for example, Torah being true would survive Hawking's or Stephen Hawking's or what's that guy's name? Not Adam. Who's the famous atheist who's on YouTube?
Planet?
What?
Dawkins, Daniel
Dawkins, Dennett. And who's the young guy who's into meditation and psychedelics? Sam Harris. Thank you. Torah would survive that. If it can't survive that, so then it's questionable. You understand? It has to survive atheist websites. Now you're hemming and hawing over that because you're thinking of the flood. The flood doesn't have to be a physical flood. Torah has to be true. Like I'm teaching a class next hour for the Gesher program here in Discovery. It doesn't matter who you are walking in the door of that class. Every single person leaves that class knowing for 100% fact that a human being did not write the Torah, that it was not written by a human. Well, that doesn't leave a lot of other options. I mean, possibly another intelligence is playing a fast one on us and did a whole Torah and prophecy and Sinai and Moses and Jews crossing the desert. And you understand? But Torah being true, it's either stands up to it or it's not true. Now, not everyone's equipped to deal with those questions, and also, there's a diffuse thinking that you may not be aware of in your own way of thinking. What's your name?
Ellie.
Ellie, you mind that we're having this dialogue?
Sorry?
You're cool with this dialogue?
Yeah, totally.
So, Ellie, there might be a diffuse way of thinking that's also part of access to truth.
I'm not sure.
What I mean by that is that there's a diffuse way of thinking would be, for example, remember I mentioned the flood. So a literal flood that flooded the earth with more water than exists in our universe. Not our universe, but who knows what's out there in the universe, but on our earth, in our atmosphere. A flood that flooded the earth with more water than exists doesn't have to be taken literally for Torah to be true. Do you know why?
I'm not even sure I got that, but no.
Do you know why the flood didn't have to happen literally for Torah to be true? You don't know. So I'll answer quickly, okay? You want the answer, Ellie? You're with me? Good, okay. Does anyone else want the answer of how you don't have to have a flood happen for Torah to be true? You want the answer? So the Torah itself, meaning this combination of letters here in Hebrew, that combination of letters has absolutely nothing to do with what the translators or even what, let's say you were a master of Torah, the actual what's called pshat level of Torah, those letters may or may not have anything to do with anything in the physical world. For example, the Torah is counting days when the sun's created on the fourth day. What's that supposed to mean? A day, for everyone knows a day is the relationship between the earth and the sun. So a day can't be less than or more than the 24 hours it takes for the earth to spin with the sun there. You have to have a relative you have to have a relative luminary and call that a day. So Torah's already counting days before there's a sun. Well, what's that supposed to mean? What are you supposed to do with that? Oh, now it's not true? It's already not true in the first chapter. You understand? Like, the very, very beginning of Torah, it's already not true because the sun's created on the fourth day. And why is it using the word days? What are days? What are days without a sun? When I studied Kabbalah, Ellie, and we're doing our all-night work Thursday nights when we learn late. You're welcome to join, by the way. It's almost unintelligible, but you can certainly jump in my van and join me. It's amazing just being in the presence of the teacher, even though it's hard to understand. It gets more understandable later in the night, but early starts super Kabbalistic. When we're learning the Parsha, like the Parsha of the week, like for example, last week was Parshas Vayera, And the piece we were learning did reflect the story, so that was cool. But so many times I'm learning the Parsha with him, and I keep looking up at the top of the book because it tells you what Parsha you're on. I look at the Rebbe and I'm like, what does this have to do with the Parsha? And he's like, this is the Parsha. It's just inside. We're inside. We're on the code level. We are in string theories. We're in combinations of letters. It's a code. Our world, this physical world, is the outer edge of an entire gigantic matrix of spiritual realities, parallel universes, of how light becomes matter. So the Torah is creating that entire system all the way down to this place. So what is a flood? And were Adam and Eve on this earth, if Torah is true? And the answer is no, they weren't. They were in a realm called Yetzirah, till they denied eating the fruit. When they denied eating the fruit, they were punished and God hid himself. What does it mean God hid himself? He's playing hide and seek? God went and hid in a basement somewhere? No, what it meant was God chunked the world down another notch into a world called Asiya, our world. God put the world down in the world of Asiya, this world, which is called hiding, because now you can't see him. But when you read the story of the Garden of Eden, isn't there clearly a Garden of Eden? Now, there's for sure a Garden of Eden juxtaposed in our world that would be juxtaposed to it. And there's even Kabbalists who know where it is. It's somewhere near Iraq or something. And so it's the juxtaposed place to that world. So what exactly was the flood? We don't know. We have no idea. But it's an extremely immature view and an overly focused view, not a diffuse view, but a way overly focused and erroneous view to judge Torah by whether or not a flood happened. You understand that? Like when you're talking about a book that is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of depth, all of it code. Every single word of it is just code. There's even those who found the periodic table. You know, the periodic chart, hydrogen, oxygen, all the, with they have an atomic number of their atoms. So there's someone who found the exact correlation of the atomic numbers with the counting of the Jews leaving Egypt. That the atomic numbers are matching up. The atomic numbers of the periodical table are matching up with the numbers of the Jews who left Egypt. Meaning, because how many of you have been sitting there in shul during the book of Numbers by Midbar, and you're just like, I'm going to pull my hair out listening to like counts over and over again. Like, why do they keep counting these people? Like, who cares? And not to mention, we just had Genesis, where it does simple math for us. It tells us how long he lived till he had someone, and then how long he lived after he had him. And then it says, and all the years of his life were. I mean, I can do math. I don't need you to tell me that. Over and over again for every single person for 10 generations. When we're taught there's not one extra letter or word in the Torah. This book is unintelligible in its encoding and what it's up to. We have no idea what it's up to. It repeats the whole entire thing of what's in the temple. Like everything gets repeated. For a book that has no extra letters, I mean, that's quite an extra. An entire 2 parshas of repeat. So we can never gauge whether this is true on YouTube, atheist websites, YouTube videos. We ain't nobody's foo. And I always feel bad that, what's that Jewish guy with the kippah who's politically fighting with everybody's conservative? Ben Shapiro. That dude should not be defending Torah. I mean, I thought he's great at defending everything else, but he shouldn't be defending Torah because that's the answer. He should just go straight to the answer that we're not going to discuss it because it's not something that you can even get near. But he'll actually try to discuss it. And it sometimes looks really bad. And when you're talking to a guy like, what was his name again? Sam Harris, you kind of look like a fool. I would not leave a Sam Harris interview looking like a fool. He would have to agree in the end. He's very smart. He would say, okay, if that's what you're saying, we can't discuss it. And I was like, okay, great, let's not discuss it. But we're not going to make Torah or those who keep it look like a fool in the end. And the kid's no dummy, by the way. Ben Shapiro is brilliant. But I think he spent more time studying other things than Kabbalah, from what I can tell. Okay, everyone, that was our truth day. It was kind of a weird day. I'm also having a weird day. I totally woke up on the wrong side of the universe today, so I apologize. I only got like a little more dynamic in like the last 10 minutes, but I really felt like I didn't have much of a pulse today. Not just in your class, the whole day. Shalom, everyone. That's Lochel Rabbah.
But I never understand what he's talking about. Like, I got 0.
Where is this man?
I got like 5%. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know for sure. One kind of association or idea I have about that is crushing your teeth is a mundane thing. You don't have to choose your teeth. It's kind of like, so it's like how many other things are you just doing things that happen every day. It's like the one thing to do. Dig into this.
So it's like self-awareness. It's something that just like traps. Absolutely. And it's not necessarily bad. Yeah, it's just nice. Yeah.
you guys know something I don't know, because I just had no idea what he was talking about. So,
Okay. My go-to example is like socks. You're probably wearing socks.
never wearing socks.
But like,
It's true that I'm wearing socks.
you probably haven't noticed that you're wearing socks. Like, ever since you put them on, put your shoes on.
That's not so bad. That's if I want to retake it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's more than that. Like, you know, it becomes kind of part of you. Like, if you suddenly put your socks, then you would notice. But otherwise, it's like they're there, stopping things. You're not relevant. You don't pay attention to something. You know, it's just like your socks are.
Right. It's just like, I get that, but I'm kind of lost. Like, what do I even do with that information? How is that practical? Like, how does that?
No, that's true.